Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster. Here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These are practice battles because the update just dropped, and if you play GBL, you'll be paired up against a lot of random people, and sometimes the games will be kind of lopsided. But these games turned out to be fairly lopsided anyway. We're all trying to go a little bit heavy on some of the new Pokemon to try to get a feel for how they work and get a sense of just how we feel about the updated moves in an actual usage situation. So, in this first game, I opened with Magcargo, which completely walled the Alolan Ninetales, who's running Charm. I'm going to end up baiting here and throwing a Mud Bomb. It would have been fine to just throw the Sludge Bomb. I thought I was going to reach a second Mud Bomb. I didn't realize it was going to take one counter more than I had figured. So, ended up kind of missing an opportunity there, and my opponent didn't shield, so it was definitely a big waste of energy for me. Luckily, I am just completely team comping them. I have a Sableye in the back to meet their Medicham. And Hot Pocket is going to open by going for a Power-Up Punch. So usually if you have Power-Up Punch, I would assume the second move would be Psychic. So I don't really have to worry about that because Sableye double resists Psychic. So this is the worst possible moveset for Pocket to have against the Sableye. So just going to throw this Foul Play, and that will eat up the last shield. He's trying to maintain because I'm pretty sure he's going to switch out and try to make a catch or a swap, but it actually was just a snipe. That's all right. I'm just going to be able to Incinerate down and blast Medicham with Overheat. And Magcargo's actually able to do something in this first game, which was, it's a little surprising. I felt that Magcargo wouldn't turn out to be all right, but it worked pretty well there, although, again, just kind of hard countered the Alolan Ninetales lead. All right. Azumarill into Magcargo. So Azumarill is very meta, and incidentally, it's very, very strong against Magcargo. Pocket's going to switch out into a Frostlass, and since I've been able to build up all of this energy before that swap in, I'm going to throw this Play Rough. It would probably make the most sense to just stay in, because both of my backline Pokemon are actually weak to Ice. I am going to spam out another Play Rough here, which is probably going to force a shield. And there's a little pause, and I'm going to try to time this out and switch to catch a Shadow Ball, and it does not get thrown. So, instead I am going to end up having to shield this Avalanche. And then Pocket's going to switch out into Magcargo and store that energy on Frostlass. So, I'm not going to shield the Rock Tomb. If that had been a Stone Edge, the normal move that you have on Magcargo, pretty sure Noctowl would have been KO'd. Instead, I'm able to get those out, and I could try to throw this Sky Attack, but the game probably lags a little. I'm not sure if I would have been able to fire that anyway, and instead my Noctowl just dies. There is a lot of server load right now because the new season just started, and a lot of people in some time zones have to get in all of their battles before midnight if they want them to count towards Season 10. So, server load kind of high. I end up eating an Overheat on Azumarill, which does, I think, more damage than the neutral Rock Tomb would have done. Donphan is incredibly squishy. I am using it with Counter along with Body Slam and Heavy Slam because I ran out of charge TMs. I literally have 0 charge TMs left in the pursuit of getting the second move back to Earthquake. So, I'm going to have to shield this Grass Knot, because the first Grass Knot did 70% of Donphan's health. Donphan, being weak to water, weak to ice, weak to grass. There's a lot of things that can hit Donphan really, really hard. And as a reminder, Grass Knot from Cresselia is one of the weakest grass attacks in the game. Grass Knot is fine, it's just Cresselia does not get stab with Cresselia, and Cresselia has really, really low attack. But, it still nearly one-shots Donphan. Donphan is just, quite frail. All right, so into this next game, I am opening with Altaria into Noctowl. So I was hoping that Pocket would stay in so that we could actually see this play out, but he actually makes a swap into Magcargo, too early to make a catch or anything, and I am going to respond by sending in a Shadow Sandslash. I'm going to no-shield the first move because debuffers love to debuff. And here I make a mistake, which is throwing Bulldoze. I really should have thrown the Rock Tomb. Bulldoze and Rock Tomb are the same price. And while Bulldoze definitely hits a lot harder, if they were, Rock Tomb would also hit for single super effective, and either of them would have been enough to take out Magcargo. And I don't know if weakening him further would have enabled me to survive one extra Incinerate and farm the whole way down, but that's all right. I'm going to bring out Altaria. I don't have to shield this because Rock Tomb is terrible, even with Stab and even with Magcargo's attack being, you know, kind of reasonable, and there's an Aggron in the back. So that's fine. I'm just going to bring in G-Fisk. G-Fisk could have nearly swept this team, actually. It's just... You really didn't have to use all three, like, new updated Pokemon Pocket. Like, one would have been more than enough. One is, for the most part, all I'll use in any of these games. But yeah, so Stunfisk into Noctowl, and I was very excited about Noctowl getting Shadow Ball so that I can have a neutral hit on Stunfisk. It is still a pretty lopsided matchup, but I mean, not nearly as lopsided as it used to be. It used to just be going straight Sky Attack in. I'm going to Mud Shot the whole way down, haven't used the shield yet, and I'm going to Earthquake the Aggron. Because I'm going to try to go with 3 of the new Pokemon that they released. It's, yeah, it's... On the whole, the Pokemon who received updates are not really as meta as the Pokemon who received buffs and debuffs in the past. Like, usually when Niantic buffed something, it was to make it more usable. Now, it's like, yeah, I'm not sure what the goal was for some of these. Like, they gave Lairon Rock Tomb. They gave Aggron Rock Tomb. What does that do for either of them? It just doesn't help them. I don't know. I think I made that point at length in my previous video. I don't need to belabor it anymore. So Deoxys is going to land a Thunderbolt, and I am going to just spam out this Overheat as soon as I can. I won't be able to get to a second move, so it makes sense to just throw the one that'll hit harder, and I actually don't shield, and it lets it go down. So I've managed to win Switch, which would be helpful if I had a better answer to Noctowl in the back. Like, now I have what would be considered alignment, but my alignment is just, you know, neutral Noctowl into Noctowl, and my opponent's Noctowl already has more energy. Pretty significant energy lead. So we desync a little bit, so I get an extra wing attack, and then I get to sneak in another one, I think. The game is pretty laggy, so it can be a little bit difficult to tell. And now I'm just going to throw this Sky Attack to try to force out the last shield. Sorry, force out a shield. Both still have one left. Able to sneak in a wing attack there, but this isn't enough for me to like catch up on energy. Gonna have to shield that because I can't be left with just Venusaur here. And very good catch by my opponent, catching a Sky Attack. Although that's probably what I would have had to throw anyway because Venusaur cannot hang with Ferrothorn. I'm going to stay in for a while longer and receive the damage from that Mirror Shot before switching out into Venusaur. So Venusaur into Ferrothorn, it's not a great matchup for Venusaur. This is a really difficult team comp for me. I don't know what I was supposed to do in this game. So I'm going to throw that Sludge Bomb, and it is going to do not that much. Sludge Bomb is the right move because it is only single resisted, because, you know, double resisted by Steel, and single strong against Grass. But yeah, Noctowl's going to come out, Sky Attack me. My Noctowl is too low to not just throw the move right away. And yeah, all Frosty really needs to do is shield or let that go down and throw his move with Ferrothorn. There was nothing I could do here towards the end of this game. That's a GG. That was a rough team comp. I led Venusaur because I was hoping that he was going to lead Magcargo. Because I honestly, as a person who doesn't run Sims, I really wanted to find out how that was going to be. Now, this next game, I get to be the Magcargo and he's the Venusaur, but he switches out. So I, you know, haven't gotten to sit through that matchup. because I honestly was curious about it. So I'm going to throw a Mud Bomb with my Toxicroak right away. It's double super effective, so we'll either force a shield or Magcargo will go down. And this is almost definitely a bait, but I'm going to shield it anyway to be safe, and yes, it was a Rock Tomb bait. So I could shield this because it should be an overheat, but I'm going to let this one go, and it's another Rock Tomb, so I'm going to get to counter the rest of the way down, which is fantastic. And yeah, I was spamming out my Sludge Bomb because I was not expecting a G-Fisk to come out instead. So yeah, that Sludge Bomb was triple resisted to nothing. And now I'm going to send out Sableye because I'm going to save my Magcargo for Venusaur. So I was expecting this to be an Earthquake because, that will hurt a little bit more than anything. It's actually a Rock Slide bait, so that's rough for me. And yeah, then they switch into Venusaur, make a catch, or catch this Foul Play. And I should have swapped out into Magcargo, but I figured, I would end up getting Frenzy Planted, and that would I don't know what I was. I don't know why I didn't switch into Magcargo there. Should have, and I thought this G-Fisk had less energy than it did. It lands an Earthquake, which nearly takes out Sableye. And yeah, I'm going to be able to get Magcargo out here into this, but obviously I'm going to get one-shotted by an Earthquake, and yeah, there's nothing I can really do in this matchup either. That's just... Magcargo is just very slow and can't really take a hit that well either, so yeah, that's a GG. That's rough. Alright, Whiscash into Azumarill. This is okay, I guess, for the Whiscash. I was using Whiscash because, there's so many new rock Pokemon. I was expecting more rocks. I don't know why I would expect that. So just going to spam out Mud Bombs against this Azu. Whiscash will win the 2-shield against Azu, but there's not really any reason for an Azumarill to shield ever, because it's obvious that Whiscash will just pull ahead. So I'm going to shield the first move. Turns out to be a Play Rough, so that's good for me. And yeah, I'm just going to continue to spam out these Mud Bombs and try to get this Azu low enough for me to be able to take them out, because incidentally, my backline of Altaria and Noctowl are both quite bad against Azumarill, because Azumarill is pretty meta, so it's good against a lot of things, and that's the case all the time. So I am going to switch out here and Wing Attack the rest of the way down, and my opponent does not switch anything in, so alright, there's a Drapion on the back, that is fine. I'm just going to spam out my Sky Attacks. Sky Attack is more efficient when everything is neutral than Shadow Ball, but I mean, Drapion also resists Ghosts, so yeah, definitely the right move to just throw the Sky Attacks. Gonna end up taking that first Crunch. Didn't want to shield the first one in case they got the debuff, but they did not, so that's a good start. Get that Sky Attack out, and I am being heavily outpaced here. I could have shielded this and maybe gotten out my next Sky Attack, but I decided to just let it go. And they got the Defense Drop and were able to Poison Sting me the rest of the way down. So that's tough. I'm going to bring out Altaria, and I'm not going to shield this move either. Turns out to be another Crunch, and that's fine. They get the Defense Drop. Noctowl comes in. I probably should have switched out right away since I'm debuffed. I wasn't trying to specifically make a catch or anything. Although I guess that would have been fine. I don't think Noctowl was even at a Sky Attack yet. Are going to take me out with a Sky Attack before I get to Blizzard range, which might be able to force a shield out of them. And I am going to have to shield this, and it is actually a Shadow Ball, so good shield from me. I'm going to throw this Sky Attack and probably get the last shield, and I'm confident that Sky Attack won't be enough to KO, so I'm going to go for the Dragon Pulse, and I get there, but they get to their Sky Attack first, and I honestly thought I would survive this Sky Attack, and then I didn't and died instead. So that was rough. Noctowl hits harder than you would expect for something that's as thick as it is. Alright, so lost lead again, and I am going to swap into my own Noctowl right away. And my opponent is staying in, so that's fine. Not going to shield the first Sky Attack, and I am going to throw my own. Neither of us has been able to sneak in a move so far, so we're actually even on energy. So we're going to reach the Sky Attack at the same time, and it'll come down to who wins CMP. And my opponent knows that, so they use that information to swap out and make a catch on their Mawile. And now they're just going to just have to kind of Fire Fang me the whole way down. I'm going to be able to reach a Shadow Ball, and I'm going to spam that out. This will at least be able to force a shield, or I will take them down. And they decide to shield, so that's fine. Now I'm going to come in with Whiscash, because they obviously can't come in with Skarmory. And I'm going to shield the first move. My thinking of shielding this move is that, you know, it could be a play rough, and if it was, it would actually hit really, really hard. It would be one of the hardest things that would probably hit Whiscash, assuming there's no grass in the back. So I don't need to shield the second one because I'm not going to run not Power-Up Punch, so I knew that couldn't have been. And I could probably have no-shielded this, what turns out to be a Sky Attack. And yeah, I had lost CMP here throwing the Blizzard, so that is going to land. It's going to let that go. Maybe a waste of energy, but there is a Wormadam in the back, so that's fine. I'm going to bring my Skarmory out into this. And this Wormadam is actually running Bug Bite instead of Confusion, which is an interesting choice, but I guess there have been a lot of Dark types in the meta lately, so maybe this is left over from that. Regardless, I'm just going to throw this Sky Attack. I get a shield. That's fine. He switches out into Mawile, not able to make any kind of a catch because I wasn't at another move, and I am just going to spam out this Brave Bird as soon as Wormadam comes back in, and yeah, managed to take that game. That is a GG. Oh, it survives. Wormadam is pretty tanky. But Wormadam charges really, really slowly. All right, next up, against Scafo. Again, I cargo into Umbreon. So this is actually a pretty neutral-ish matchup, which I think is honestly one of the better ways to showcase Magcargo in the first place. It's hard to encounter totally neutral matchups because Magcargo, between Fire and Rock, and attacking with Fire and Rock, there are so many Pokemon that will, you know, be hitting Magcargo for super effective or receiving super effective damage. This is actually a full neutral, so you get to see how that works out. So after that, I'm going to switch into Toxicroak. Would have been nice if I could have caught a Foul Play, but my opponent wasn't throwing it, and I had to get out right away because I had thrown an Overheat and debuffed myself. And I am met with a Beedrill. So that is rough for Toxicroak. I'm going to shield the first move, and it turns out to be a Drill Run, so that's good. And I'm going to just throw this Mud Bomb. This would KO if they don't shield it, so I definitely expect them to, and they do. Now we're down to one shield each. I'm going to get them a little bit lower, and they're going to throw their move here. Beedrill still isn't really in like a super safe farm down range for Magcargo. I'm definitely concerned that they would still be able to get to a Drill Run just because Incinerate takes so long to get through. So I'm going to send Sableye instead, and yeah, I'm just going to no-shield the first of this X-Scissor, and they're actually not going to be able to reach another one. And now I have some energy built up, and there is a Fortress in the back. I'm going to switch out into Magcargo. Umbreon is going to come back out. That is all right. I'm going to shield the first Foul Play because I am planning to debuff them with Rock Tomb. Throw one Incinerate. They're going to get to throw two Snarls, and I'm going to throw this Rock Tomb. That is going to debuff their attack, so I'll be able to survive the next move a little bit more. Throw one Snarl, and then they throw this. If I'm able to farm them down, I'll be able to Overheat and one-shot the Fortress, but I had lost track of their energy. They actually had one Snarl more than I thought they did. If they didn't have that Snarl, that Incinerate would have landed. It would have been able to take them out. As such, not quite able to make it. I'm going to spam out my Foul Play, and I'm going to be able to get to another one. And I forget to Best Buddy my Sableye, as I seem to do pretty frequently, so I'm at 1476, so a little bit weaker than I would be if I had remembered to Best Buddy it. And as a result, the Fortress is going to barely survive. I need to get in one extra Shadow Claw, or to have done more damage with any of my other things, or if I just, you know, didn't lose track of Umbreon's energy. Could have played that better in a lot of different ways, but I wasn't quite able to take that game, and that's a GG. Alright, next up. Stunfisk into Noctowl. So this is finally actually an excellent lead for me. Stunfisk isn't the most, Unova Stunfisk isn't the most meta pick, but honestly it is pretty strong against most of the meta, just really, really gets walled by grass, so that's one of the reasons that I usually don't use it, because I don't like to get walled. Yeah, they're going to switch in Drapion, and for whatever reason, I instead of staying in, and I really should have just stayed in, I ended up switching to Noctowl. I figured Noctowl would be able to force alignment against the Drapion, and yeah, it actually just barely doesn't if they, you know, once that Crunch landed, and then they ended up landing a Sludge Bomb, which does slightly more damage than Crunch. So I wasn't quite able to get my Stunfisk lined up with the Noctowl, so instead it is lined up with a Chansey, which has recently been debuffed, so these slaps are doing exactly as much as they would have done before the nerf. Yeah, moving Chansey's damage from 5 down to 4. Doesn't look like it changed this matchup at all. Each of those slaps is still doing like 2 HP of damage, and it's taken a while for me to get this in. This is at triple speed, and I'm going to end up shielding all of the moves out of Chansey because it just takes so long for them to get to them. I could have built up a little bit more energy there, and honestly I really should have before I threw that last one. Because now Noctowl is going to come out. I still have a ton of loaded energy, and let's slow this back down to 1.5 speed. They're going to shield the first discharge, and then they are going to shield the second discharge. Comes out over here. I have a Butterfree in the back, so not really any utility against Noctowl. I'm built up to the next discharge, and I'm just going to swap out and try to make a catch. I actually do manage to catch a Shadow Ball on Butterfree, so this is the best case scenario, except that I didn't get to sneak in a Confusion. Regardless, they're going to throw their energy here. That Sky Attack is very much going to take me out. I have a discharge ready, and now I'm only 2 Mudshots away from my next discharge. The discharge lands. I need to get to this next one, and they reach their move before I do. If this is a Sky Attack, I'll survive it and be able to take them out. But it's actually Shadow Ball, and yeah, Noctowl is able to take out my Stunfisk. So yeah, that's rough for me. That's GG. Chansey, still quite thick. All right, next up against Elmo is Innocent. Donphan into Venomoth. So Venomoth is running the recently buffed Bug Buzz, so instead of doing base 90, it does base 100, so 10% increase of how much damage Venomoth's Bug Buzz will do. This could totally be a Poison Fang bait, but I'm going to shield anyway, and luckily it was in fact the Bug Buzz. If I did not shield that, it would have one-shotted my Donphan. So I'm going to throw this Body Slam. I get a shield. And I switched out to Magcargo to try to make a catch, but I don't think they were actually even at the Bug Buzz yet. So, yeah, I'm going to end up eating this Poison Fang, which I'm totally fine with, and they're going to switch it into Vigoroth, which would be really destroying my Magcargo regardless. I am going to go straight for the Overheat. It does way more damage than a Rock Tomb. And then I'm able to sneak in and Incinerate also. So I'm going to no-shield here. It turns out to be a Body Slam, and then I get to throw another Incinerate, and it takes out Vigoroth. I absorb 2 counters in the process of doing that, so I'm very, very low, and I'm not going to be able to reach another move. Stunfisk comes out, and that is okay, I guess. Not really amazing for me. So I know my Donphan is kind of low. I resist Rock, so I'm going to no-shield this and hope that it's a Rock Slide bait and that it does not KO me. And now I'm just going to spam out this Body Slam because it could totally be an Earthquake, and I should have Earthquake. I just literally ran out of charge TMs. So now I've got my Beedrill lined up with their Venomoth, and bees beat moths unless the moth is running Confusion, which is the more normal set anyway. And yeah, I'm going to be able to reach this Drill Run, throw that. It's going to do pretty decent damage against Stunfisk, but not enough to take it out because Stunfisk is very thick. They're going to reach a Rock Slide. I'm going to let this go just to confirm that it does in fact KO, because I don't really run Beedrill that often. I'm able to counter down with Donphan and take that game. That is a GG. Alright. Noctowl into Donphan. This looks like it would be a positive matchup because you've got a counter user, and, you know, I'm using Wing Attack, and it's just honestly not. It's like all of my attacks are doing totally neutral damage to Donphan. And yeah, counter does neutral damage to Noctowl, so it's not really that lopsided of a matchup in the first place. I'm going to switch Medicham out into this Drapion just to be able to farm it the rest of the way down. Like, I'm not going to shield this first Crunch. They don't get a debuff, but I'm going to throw the Ice Punch here, so if they want to get out another move, they're going to have to shield first. And they decide to shield, so that's fine with me. I am just going to counter the whole way down. I'm going to Mirror Shield. If this had turned out to be an Aqua Tail bait, then maybe they would have been able to reach another Crunch, but since that is a Crunch, it lowers my defense, but I'm going to be able to counter down just barely. Like, they go down with the energy for a Crunch. I spam out my Ice Punch because I was anticipating Donphan coming out, and I thought I would survive this Body Slam, but I mean, keep in mind my defense has been lowered. I think that was very close to me surviving already. And there is a Dugong in the back. So this is rough. I kind of had to make a call here. I figured, you know, it's a debuffer. Debuffers love to debuff, and it was actually a Water Pulse, which is double super effective, even though Water Pulse is a terrible move. Nearly one-shots my Magcargo, and this game is super over. I'm going to be able to land the Rock Tomb, but it just doesn't do enough, and I'm not healthy enough to be able to reach another move. So, yeah, going to have to shield this Icy Wind. And now I have been debuffed, and I don't really have an amazing way of playing out the rest of this matchup regardless. Yeah, just kind of had to make that call. If I had shielded an Icy Wind, it would have been pretty bad for me. But if I let the Water Pulse go, also would have been pretty bad for me. So, like a 50-50 play there. I just chose wrong. And yeah, turns out Donphan wins CMP against Noctowl, and that last Body Slam was going to take me out. So, yeah, rough. That was, yeah. Using the new Pokemon is difficult. Not gonna lie. Alright, Stunfisk into Aggron. So, yeah, my opponent's gonna switch out right away into Pelipper, which isn't the best swap into a Unova Stunfisk, just because you kind of have to shield these discharges. They will pretty much KO. I think Pelipper actually barely survives them. But yeah, I'm going to switch out into Noctowl. I'm not going to shield the first move, anticipating that it might be a Weather Ball bait, and it's actually a Hurricane, which does pretty substantial damage. So I'm going to spam out this Sky Attack, and it does that much, which is like, you know, a decent chunk. I am going to have to shield this because I definitely want to maintain alignment. And that means I have to throw the Sky Attack here because they're only one more Wing Attack away from their next Weather Ball. If they want to shield this, I will actually Mirror Shield even though I'm super low. And a Trevenant is going to come out. So, yeah, look at how I'm like Wing Attacking this Trevenant. Like, if I had survived with one more HP, I would have been able to throw a Sky Attack and force the last shield out of them. As such, this Trevenant has a lot of loaded energy. I'm going to have to call it here and shield, and I correctly shield the Shadow Ball, so that is fantastic for me. My opponent's going to switch out into Aggron. I'm going to bring Stunfisk back in. And Smackdown doesn't charge very quickly, and Rock Tomb takes for freaking ever to reach. So just going to throw my Mud Bomb there. Don't really have to worry about getting hit with anything on my Stunfisk. And I am just going to throw Discharge because I'm hoping that it'll be enough to get Trevenant low enough for me to actually Mudshot down. So they are going to reach their Seed Bomb here, and Seed Bomb will hit for super effective, and Stunfisk is really tanky, so survives it anyway. And I am going to be able to get this Discharge out, and it does that much, which is not quite enough, and I'm not able to Mudshot the rest of the way down either. But I think Golbat would barely survive a Shadow Ball from there. I sneak in a Wing Attack, so as long as I survive this, I win, and it was just a Seed Bomb, so I managed to just take that game. That's a GG. Okay. Next up, against Hollow Purple. Magcargo Mirror. Surprisingly, this was the first one. So he's going to switch out into Vigoroth, and I'm going to respond by sending in my Toxicroak. This is a pretty good matchup for Toxicroak. I'm going to throw my Mud Bomb here. If they decide to no shield, then they will maybe get countered down. They'd have to undertap to get their move out, and yeah, did not even make it. I think Hollow's game probably lagged a little bit because the surface have been under pretty heavy load. I am going to throw this Mud Bomb here against Pachirisu, which I do not have, and that is an XL level 51 Pachirisu, which Hollow uses against me all the damn time. Yeah, so I'm going to shield the first Thunder Punch, and they're going to have to throw their next Thunder Punch, and that leaves Pachirisu empty. So I'm going to shield that, and I'm going to be able to counter the rest of the way down. They're still one Volt Switch away from reaching their next move. I'm able to throw this Mud Bomb, and then the Incinerate will go through, but I should be able to throw one counter and throw my next Mud Bomb, and I tried to, and for whatever reason, an extra Incinerate comes through and destroys me in 2 turns, even though it's a 5-turn fast move. Like I said, the servers have been servering. So Hollow's Magcargo actually is using Incinerate with Stone Edge and Overheat, and that is so much better than having Rock Tomb. Because Stone Edge, you know, nearly one-shots Magcargo. I'm not quite able to reach another move, so that is really unfortunate for me. And yeah, I'm going to bring Sableye in. Tried to make a fancy catch and wasn't quite able to do it. And yeah, now I'm going to throw this Foul Play against Magcargo. It does not quite enough, and yeah, I am going to end up eating this Stone Edge. I just need to get to another move before they finish this Incinerate, or just, able to Shadow Claw down, but not quite able to make it. I come out one Shadow Claw shy, end up taking the Stone Edge, and I lose that game. That is a GG. Yep, Magcargo, better without Rock Tomb. All right, Stunfisk into Magcargo, much better for me. This is the same team from before. This is a Vigoroth in the back. So, yeah, this time I'm going to safe swap into my Noctowl because I did not bring Toxicroak this time because I wasn't expecting him to run the same team twice. So I am just going to throw this Sky Attack. It gets shielded, which makes a lot of sense because Vigoroth outpaces Noctowl. I thought this would be a better matchup for Noctowl, but honestly, it is a terrible matchup for Noctowl. Vigoroth's counters just do too much damage because they're coming in for neutral. So I'm going to end up sending Stunfisk back out. And naturally, there's like half a Vigoroth left with, more energy than it had when I swapped out in the first place. So, yeah, Noctowl was basically traded for one shield. So it's far from ideal. They're not going to end up shielding the discharge. I should have thrown a Mud Bomb. I'm going to switch out into Magcargo to try to make a catch on one of these Body Slams. And I'm also able to sneak in and Incinerate, so that helps a lot. They throw one counter and then switch out into their own Magcargo. Our moves are desynced, so I try to delay a little bit before throwing this, and now I am going to land this Rock Tomb. It does that much when it goes unshielded. So it doesn't one-shot, and Stone Edge pretty much does, so I'm going to end up no-shielding this. I know it's a Stone Edge, but I don't feel like I can safely shield it. And yeah, going to bring Stunfisk back out. So I'm expecting this to be an Overheat, which would hit for neutral, so I'm going to shield it, and it turns out to be a Stone Edge bait, which is, like, so unnecessary. And I'm going to Mud Shot the whole way down. Vigoroth is going to come out. I'm actually going to be able to get this Mud Bomb off before he gets to throw a move for whatever reason, and they shield. And I was spamming out another Mud Bomb, so I'm going to end up having to eat this move. Hopefully it's not a Bulldoze, and it's just a Body Slam, so that is good for me. Now I'm able to land this Mud Bomb because I was spamming it out so hard. And yeah, there is the Hollow Purple Pachirisu special in the back. And of all the Pokemon in the meta, I think Unova Stunfisk is probably the one that shuts Pachirisu down the absolute hardest because I triple resist Thunderbolt, so Thunderbolt does nothing. There was like nothing in the game that I probably would have been able to beat in this situation except for Pachirisu. But yeah, that's what was back there. So yeah, gonna throw this discharge, managed to take out Pachirisu, and managed to take that game. That's GG. So yeah, into this next match. Honestly, I'm so tired of seeing Pachirisu. I was like, you know what? Screw this freaking squirrel. I'm just going to run triple ground. And then he opened with a Rufflet instead. And it's like, oh, man. All right, that's rough. So I decided to shield the first move, thinking that Rufflet knows like close combat. But apparently this one was running Rock Tomb and Brave Bird. And I'm not even sure if it can learn close combat. I think that's just the Braviary moveset I was thinking of. So they debuffed me with Rock Tomb and then sent out a Medicham. I am not going to bait because I usually do, and I know that Hollow knows that. So I'm just going to go straight Earthquake twice, which puts Medi really, really low. And I'm not going to shield this because, I mean, I really doubt that he has Dynamic Punch. And it turns out to be a Power-Up Punch, and I'm able to Mud Shot the rest of the way down, and that is fantastic. And there's a Meganium in the back, which beats everything on this team also. Yeah, Triple Ground, it's not like a good idea, because ground is a terrible typing, like defensively. Weak to ice, water, grass. There's so much of both of those, as you can see in this battle. I'm gonna send out Torterra, who will at least resist grass by my grass typing and take super effective. So Frenzy Plant will hit for neutral and does a lot. It's gonna switch into Rufflet. I'm gonna bring out Sand Slash and try to get to this Rock Tomb. These are Mud Shots that are charging these charge moves, by the way. It takes so freaking long to reach anything. Oh my gosh. If you take away nothing else from this video, it's that Rock Tomb is such a frustratingly bad move. And that was the last battle. So, yeah, I don't know how seriously I was really taking those battles towards the end there. Last time I was trying to find good ways to integrate the new Pokemon into, useful team compositions. And I just find that in trying to do that in this season, adding one of the updated Pokemon to a team comp makes that team comp strictly worse. It ends up being like a whole team built around trying to highlight the strengths of one Pokemon, and then half the time, the rest of the team has to carry anyway. So, yeah. Thank you very much for watching this video. Clearly, there was no need to. I think we all knew that most of the updated Pokemon were going to be quite bad, but oh man, actually having to use them and having them used against me, oh, you really feel it. Like, Rock Tomb takes forever to reach. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Magcargo, not amazing. Noctowl, it's pretty decent. It didn't really get amazing chances to shine in this because a lot of people, knowing that you would encounter Noctowl, brought things that were neutral-ish or decent against Noctowl. It was a very limited meta when I made this video because there's going to be a Magcargo and and Noctowl everywhere because they're like the usable ones. So yeah, not saying you should take what you've seen with a grain of salt. You should just look at it and be like, yes, I will probably never see those things in GBL, but if I ever do, I'll feel confident that my opponent will die because these Pokemon are really bad. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Better content next time, I promise, because it couldn't possibly be any worse.